I almost forgot to record, so I'm recording now. Got it all set up too, and then I forgot. So again, just remember your change would be like, if it increased by $15, that would be the change in the amount, right? So it's the difference between your original and the new price. If it decreases, it's just how much you're saving, the change in the original and the new price. That's why we're always subtracting. It'll always be a positive number. So we always put the change over the original amount, and then we take it times 100% to make the percentage. So when it says the word rate, it's just a different way of saying find the percent discount. Or percent decrease, actually was the word that we probably used in the previous notes. Now let's do rate of increase. So this would be kind of like saying find the percent increase, okay? It says the average fine for entering a national forest wilderness without a permit increased from $65 to $78. What rate of increase is this? So it was originally $65. It increases, so that's the new amount, to $78. So it's now $13 more, right? If you find the difference between those two numbers, is that $13? You see that? Even if you type it 65 minus 78, smaller minus the bigger, we're going to say it's a change of just $13, not negative, right? Okay, so this is the change. So we're going to say, I want the change amount over, what's my original price? 65. So it's not always the biggest number. So don't think that. Sometimes that's the pattern we're trying to pick up on, and that's not really what's happening. And we're going to take it times 100%. So 13 over 65 times 100 means that is a 20% increase. So for my Zoom screen, I want to zoom in more, but for my screen here, we are taking up the full projector. So it's kind of a different view than what they see. We're going to go ahead and skip number 4. It's because they give you the percent of decrease and they want you to find the sell price. We'll come back to that and I'll do a couple with you just to show you. I do it differently. You can use this formula, percent increase or decrease, and you can work with it that way, but I think it's easier if you kind of revert back to 5.1 through 5.4 and solve it and apply it. But all of our brains work differently, so you know, if you need me to do it a different way, I'll do that for you. But number 5 talks about a rate. Remember, rates is percent of discount. So a pair of snow boots at an equipment store in Big Bear that originally cost $60 is on sale for $36. What is the rate discount? So it originally cost $60. It's on sale, so that's the new price of $36. So 60 minus 36 is 24. So it decreased by $24, right? That was the change in the price. So when we set this up, what number goes on the top? 24. What number goes on the bottom? 60 times 100%. So this would be the change amount, the change between the two, the difference, whatever word you like to use. They mean the same thing. They do sound different because they are different words. So this would be a 40% discount. Let's look at number 6. Number 6 says an employee's hourly raise went up from $10 per hour to $12 per hour. What is the rate of increase? Like maybe they want to know what percent increase is my salary now. So your original is $10. Your new hourly is $12. your hourly amount went up $2, right? The difference between those two things is $2. You got a $2 raise. That's what the change is representing. So this is where, like, when you have an increase, don't be tempted to put it over 12 just because that's the bigger number, right? We always put it over whatever the original amount is. So your $2 is your change. The original hourly was $10. So that goes there times 100%. So 2, I'll set it up like this. 2 over 10 times your 100 will give you 20%. So that's a 20% increase in your hourly wage. You know, think about the number 10. If you were to separate tens and 2s, 20%, that'd be. I want you to give number 7. And if I don't join you, go ahead and try number 8. But for sure, I want everyone to try number 7. I know it says markup rate, but that also means rate of increase. So try number 7 and number 8 if you have time while I'm giving you time to attempt it. I'm going to go ahead and join you. So in number 7, it says a math book at the bookstore originally cost $84 to purchase. If they sell it for $126, what is the markup rate? So we find the difference between those prices. So when you are a person selling something, you know, you buy it for a certain cost and you're going to mark it up because you got to make money. And they mark it up by $42, but they want to know what's the rate of that. Is that a 15% increase? Like, what are you marking your stuff up to make a profit? So you would put 42 over 84. So remember, it's always over the original price, not the bigger number, times 100%. So in your calculator, if you do 42 over 84 times 100, you should get 50. A 50% in markup is really, if we use that word, it has a 50% markup rate. And think about that. If you take 84 times 2, isn't, well, that's 126, 50%, 50% markup. Yeah, I'm not what I was thinking, but. Or at least what I was going to explain was not right. 50% markup rate from its original to the new, so $42. It marked it up like half of what it originally cost you. That's actually the better way, the right way to explain it. I was going to compare it to the new price. Okay, this other one, if you did it, it's original price. Bruce's hourly wage increased from $15.15 to $18.60. What was the rated increase for that hourly pay? So basically, Bruce got a $3.10 raise, right? You find the difference between them, and that's the change. So you're going to put $3.10 on the top over what Bruce's original hourly pay was, and take it times 100%. So 310 over 1550 times 100 is 20. Does somebody have a question, or were you just already telling me what it was? So you just tell me what it was. Okay. I just heard noise and I didn't like register what was being said. So that would be a 20% rated increase. So we're just going to do those. Hold on to these. Don't get rid of them. We may use them a little bit more next class period if I feel like we need to go over some stuff. I do want to go back and look at number 1 and 4. So those examples that we did on this first page, those were all those discount or percent increase or decreases, right? Where we use this kind of formula. But if you look at number 1, it says a sports store near Big Bear's Lake is having a 20% off on all water skis. What will the sell price be for water skis, which regularly sells for $248? So if you just want to know what's 20% off of $248, if we can revert back to 5.1 through 5.4, it makes this section just a little bit easier, and you can apply the old knowledge that you know. You can plug this back into here. It's just you have to work it more like an equation with an X, an unknown in there. So if I say 20%, that'd be like saying 0.20 of means times 248. And this would represent your discount amount. So 0.2 times 248 means they would discount it $49.60. This would be your discount amount. But they're asking, what's the sell price? What would we do if we know the discount amount now? What would we do to find the sell price? Subtract. So to find the sell price, first we had to find how much are we going to take off the price by multiplying it times the percent off. And to find the sell price, we take 248 minus that discount of $49.60. And you should have got $198.40. So that would be the sell price. That's actually what they're wanting to know, because you're already given a percent off. You're not having to find a percentage. So that could be a good indication of you needing to find either the amount you're saving or the new price. So if you're finding the new price, you have 2 steps you have to do. You have to find out what is 20% of that original cost, which we learned how to do in 5.1 through 5.4. Then you have a second step of subtracting that discount amount from the original cost to find the new price of that item. Let's do one more, and then we're going to go on to the new content. A stereo is marked down $75. If this is, let's not do that one. I don't want to do that one right now. I think it's just going to be too confusing. Okay, let's go ahead and just go on to the next page. I'll do it though on Thursday. If you want to try it, please do. But it's not going to be the same pattern. I'm very patterny. All right, so let's look at this one right here. Wages. How many of you have had a job before? Yes, a lot of us. So a lot of this is stuff you probably already figured on your own. So if we're talking about commission, an agent earns an 8.5% commission on sales. Find the agent's commission for sales of $150,000. So your commission rate is always going to be a percentage. So that's what we're saying here. You're taking that rate times whatever their total sales is, and that's going to equal whatever their commission is on that. So if I say 8.5%, I have to change that to a decimal, right? 0.085 times my total sales of $150,000. So what is 8.5% of $150,000? 0.085 times $150,000 is $12,750. So if you have a job where you work on commission, that's how you find your commission. Realtors work on commission. Sometimes people that sell pools and spas work on commission. My husband works for a heat and air company, and he actually does sales and manages all the install guys. And so he doesn't get a percent of the sale or anything, but there is commission that's built in a different way. So commission can be a lot of different ways. But a lot of times it is like you earn 2% of your sale, 6% of your sale, 3%, whatever it might be. And so do you notice that we keep saying the word of? That you are earning 8.5% of whatever your sales were. So remember, of means multiply. And so it still goes back to what we learned back in 5.1. The word of means multiply. Or really, I guess 5.2, 3, and 4. Hourly wages. If Tim receives an hourly of $15.75, how much is Tim paid for 37 hours? So you just take your $15.75 times your 37 total hours to get how many, what they earned minus any, things that are, I wrote 37 hours, 37. I can't talk and type at the same time, apparently. 1575 times your 37 hours is 582.75. So you just multiply how many hours you work times whatever your hourly wage is. Of course, you get stuff taken out of your check. That's where I was trying to say, and I couldn't while I was writing. Yeah, Social Security that comes out, that all the income tax stuff that comes out. Taxes, Oklahoma State, they take money. But this would be your pay before all that stuff is taken out, right? Now, some people get paid salary. I'm a salary person. A lot of education people are salary. So salary is for your year. Generally, it can be set up in different ways. But if we break it apart into pay periods, that's what this is representing. Then you can look at it that way. Salary, say your salary breaks down to where you get $2,000 a week times how many pay periods you get. Maybe you get it weekly, so that'd be like 52 weeks, equals that amount. We could say it like that. Some people get paid monthly. So maybe like I get paid monthly, maybe I get $4,000 a month. How many months are there? 12, and that can tell you what your annual salary would be. Okay. Sometimes we have to work backwards. What if we get paid, we know we're going to get paid $55,000 a year. Maybe you need to know what is that monthly, then you'd have to go divide, right? So if you look at this, it says an accountant receives an annual salary of $130,000. How much is received per month? So if we set it up looking at it just like this, my total salary is $130,000. Maybe I don't know what my pay period is. That's what I'm finding. But how many months are there? Times 12 months. So really, you're just dividing by 12. I don't generally set it up with this formula, but I know some people are super stuck to formulas, so I'm going to use it this time. But like if you're talking about an overall annual salary and you need to know what you're being paid per month, so you're going to just divide it by 12. So we would say 130,000 divided by 12. And obviously you'd have to round to the nearest cent. That'd be like 33 cents. And they do talk a lot about annual salary, and I guess it says it right there. So a lot of times you really are dividing by 12 to split it up into your months. you don't get your salary on December 31st, right? You've got to live. So they portion it out every month for you so that you have it each month for your pay. But if you go get a job and they say, I'll pay you $2,000 a week, that's how you would figure out, well, what is my annual salary? You'd take 2,000 times 52 weeks, and that would tell you how much you would make for the whole year if they were giving you just a base salary, no matter how many hours you work a week. That's what salary is. So sometimes people make salary plus commission. I guess that would be an example of actually what my husband does. He gets a salary plus on top of that, he gets a certain amount of commission per thing that he sells. So you have two operations you have to think about. So Sony works at a furniture salesman or as a furniture salesman and earns a base salary of $350 per week plus 6% commission on sales. What is Sony's weekly gross salary if his total sales were $3,750? So we know he's already making $350 that week, right? Plus, he's going to make another amount, whatever his commission amount, and that's going to be that weekly pay. Would you agree with that? So you got your weekly pay, and then you get, oh, I made a sale of 6%. That's going to add together to make that weekly pay. So we're going to multiply. We need to know what 6% of what he sold was. So 6% of 3750. So how do we find that? We take 0.06 times 3750. What is it? 225. So since Sonny sold that $3,750 thing, we get to add $225 to that week's paycheck, is what that means. So 225 plus 350 means that week Sonny gets to take home $575. Do you guys get that? Weekly pay, and then, oh, cool, we got to sell, so we got to get money on top of it. Okay, number 2, Veronica works at Future Shop and earns $10.50 per hour, plus 6% commission on sales. Last week, Veronica worked 40 hours. What was Veronica's weekly gross salary if her total sales were $2,050? So we have two things happening. First, we need to know how much did they get paid week as a base pay. If she gets paid $10.50 per hour, how many hours did we say she worked? 40. We're going to take that times 40. We need to know how much did she get paid even if she didn't sell anything for that 40 hours, and she got $420. But then she did sell something and got 6% on it. We're going to have to do the commission part, right? She got 6% on that $2,050. So 0.06 times 2050. 0.06 times 2050 is $123. So by selling whatever that was that she sold, whatever her sales were, maybe it was a couch, her total pay would be just adding those together, right? So 420. So 543. I don't even know why I typed it in my calculator. I think as a habit. That would be her total weekly pay. So straight commission, number 3 says William earned straight commission as a real estate agent. Last month, his total sales were $971,168. If William earns 3% rate of commission, what was his gross income? When we say gross income, that's before things are taken out, okay? I haven't really brought attention to that. So this is before any deductions. That's what they mean. when you see that, because you need, if it says net, then that's different, but gross income is before deductions. So all we do is we take that 971,168 times what? Right, if it's a 3% rate, we got to turn it to a decimal. And we say 971,168 times 0.03 is 29,135.04. So, when you are a real estate agent, I think sometimes it can be feast or famine. Some people really have the market cornered and they get a lot of sales, and some people, maybe they're new in the business. So, they may get one big paycheck a year and have to live off of it. You never know. So they don't get paid hourly to come out and show you your house. They just get paid when they sell something. Does anybody have anybody that does real estate in your family? You do? Yeah. 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 And I think there are some agencies that do provide some sort of hourly, because the agency gets a percentage of the sale too, and then the actual salesperson gets the other percentage. But I think for the most part, most of them really do just rely on a sale, and they don't get any sort of extra hourly. Number 4, Sophia earned straight commission selling cell phone contracts. Last month, she sold 341 cell phone contracts worth a total of this amount. If Sophia earns 5% rate of commission, what was her gross income last month? So really, we don't care that there were 341 contracts, because we know that the total amount of that was 38,000, right? So it's kind of extra information. It's tempting to want to multiply it, but if one contract was worth that, then you're paying a lot of money for your cell phone, right? That'd be a lot of money, right? For you individually to have a cell phone, $38,000. So this just means those were worth that amount. So if she earns 5% of that, we would take that 38,192 times 0.05. And that gives you $1909.60. So $1,909.60. She's got to sell a lot of contracts to make her pay. And then number 5, Brian is a salesman for a wholesale computer parts company. He earns straight commission at a rate of 4%. Last month, his total sales were 82,968. What was his gross monthly income? So we're taking his total sales of 82,968 times 0.04. Which would be $3,318.72. So generally the wages section, it's probably more like you've dealt with it more. It might be a breeze for some of you. Maybe you're really not familiar with salary or something, and that's a little confusing. Hopefully not. Hopefully that was enough to kind of help you understand the different way wages are figured. It's important to know, because if you go out and get a job, you need to kind of have an idea of what you're making before you commit to a certain job, right? Or maybe you have 2 offers, and one's like, I'm going to pay you $42,000 a year, and the other's like, I'm going to pay you $60 an hour. How do you figure out which one's better, right? You got to know how to figure a wage for that reason alone. Bank statements, I would say this section of the unit seems a little archaic, but I promise it's actually not, especially if you ever do deal with any books for a company of sorts. So we're going to learn how to reconcile a bank statement today. Also, we don't really see checks very much. We are going way more digital. At some point, I believe, probably soon, I'm probably not going to be teaching you how to write a check, but there are still things that we write checks for, like fundraisers. But now that's starting to go to Venmo, which is super nice, right? I personally would rather I will give to somebody way quicker if there's a Venmo set up than if I have to sit down and go find my checks. So if you've never had to write a check, most often there are several in class that have it, in my experience. When you have paid to the order of, if this is an insurance payment and it goes to State Farm, you just address it to State Farm. Then you put the date up there in the top right hand corner. So like this is September 26th. So like maybe 9/26/23. You can write the date in any form that you wish. This is why we learn how to write digits in words. So if we have 275.50, I usually put a line under my cents. Some people put that over 100, but I don't think that that's necessary, but that's up to you. We need to write 275. What do we write when we see the decimal? And so I do an and symbol. You can write the word and. Some people do. I'm lazy. I do an and symbol. And 50 over 100 to represent, that's not a whole dollar. That's how you represent the change part. So you put, if it was 34 cents, you put 34 over 100. A lot of people in the for, if you're paying a bill, will put their account number. It's pretty wise to do that just in case somehow your check gets separated from your invoice when you mail it in. Even though I know most bills are paid online. I pay all my bills online. I don't pay anything by check anymore. And then you just sign right there in that bottom right hand corner. So that's all you do when you're writing a check. When I was a kid, that was the only way that you could pay for things. And half the time I would go find my mom's checkbook and set it up because she needed to pay for something that day for school and lay it out there because she left work at 6 a.m. and she just signed it. So like I've been writing checks since I was a teenager, but some of you've never had to, and that's okay because I think the world is changing. So we do show you how to do that. There are some businesses that still operate only in check form, Northern being one of them. They're starting to go more digital finally, but I had to, when I was coaching cheer here, I had to pay for airline checks with a check, which was like the hardest thing to coordinate for American Airlines because they don't take checks. Like it was quite a deal to get that done. Deposit tickets. Here in Tonkawa, America, I don't have to fill out a deposit ticket. Do you? Ever? No, I just sign my check and say, put that in my savings, put that in my checking. But there are banks, if you're in a big town, maybe they require you to do that. But you would just put the date here. 9/26/23. You sign if you want cash back, but this one we're not getting cash back. If you are depositing cash, there's a place right there to put the total amount of cash that you're depositing. I put lines through my zeros because I'm lazy, but you can put zeros there. This represents the change part. And then if you have a check, 104768, and whatever that check number is, you might write it there. On the back side of deposit tickets, there's actually more entry forms. Like if you sell things, maybe you sell Scentsy and you have sold like 7 things and you have 7 checks to deposit, you might put it all there and tally it and then turn it over on the front and put it there. That way, because you don't have enough space to write each individual ticket. My dad had a heat and air business growing up before he passed away, and he had real long deposit slips because, you know, whenever people paid stuff, he might have 30 people that paid their bill, and you have to list them separately, and that's the way you keep track of it. So you're like, oh yeah, we did deposit Mr. Jones's check for his invoice here on this date. We see his name, his check number, and the amount right here. And so that's why some of these things, they may seem archaic, but if you're in any sort of business that's collecting money from the public, you will be keeping track of those deposit things. So you would just add this together for your total deposit. 1047.68 plus 125 is 1172.68. That's all that is. I am almost certain you guys could have figured that out if nobody showed you that. But we do just take time to go over that life application thing that happens in normal banking. Or kind of normal banking. Like I said, we are starting to go more digital. Some of us, maybe you never receive checks from people and your deposit goes straight to your bank account. Like my check is deposited straight to my bank account. I never see a check. If I go look at my check stub, it's because I went into our portal and looked at it. So, and then I'm going to introduce this. I think we'll get through one of these and then we'll be done for today. So this might be your personal checkbook registry right here. This is you recording it. Obviously it's typed out, so it doesn't look handwritten, but this would be something that would be handwritten unless you keep a digital Excel file of your checkbook. This is your monthly statement. So this is from the bank provided. And this might be something that you're looking at on your online banking. The reason you should keep a personal checkbook is because sometimes you're writing checks and things don't get cashed immediately, especially fundraisers. Like when I write a check to Temple Band boosters, I feel like it takes 3 weeks before that thing gets deposited. And I know that I have that check out, but what if I'm living that close to that amount and maybe I forget, oh yeah, I wrote a $300 check and I get paid in 3 days, but it already cleared, right? So it is good to understand that. Sometimes you'll see things in your bank account that'll say pending, and it does go ahead and figure your balance and once it goes through, but your bank doesn't know things are pending if you have checks out there, right? So you have to be careful of that. As a personal banker, there's not that big amount that really matters. But again, kind of going back to my dad's business, it was not unheard of for him to have an equipment bill that was over $25,000 for the month. And they might write a check for $25,000 for their equipment, right? So maybe you write that check, he mails it, and he doesn't know that that's coming out yet, but then he has to pay some salaries on top of it, right? So you have to know what money's coming out, even if it doesn't immediately come out of your account, and you look at your bank statement and you think you have $25,000 more than you have. You would think you would remember, oh yeah, I have an equipment check out, right? But when you're operating in big monies like that, you really do have to follow all the money and double check it. And so that's why reconciling is important. So this might be your starting balance. This is where we're going to start. And each thing over here, we're either going to add or subtract, and we keep a tally from transaction to transaction of your balance. So if it's a deposit, then you're adding it to your balance, right? So 500 plus 1172 would be $1,672.68. And generally, I do keep it in my calculator because you're just going to be typing it in and going straight down. And so that's that digit right there. It's really messy, but $1,672.68. If we make a payment, whether it's with a check or a debit, whatever, we're going to be subtracting it. So we already have that amount right there. Do you see it? So we're just going to say minus 323.21. So that's 1349.47. Then we have another payment, and that's going to, like, maybe you write a check for cash or you withdrew it. So you would subtract 200 from this new balance. So each item right here is representing your balance every time you either deposit or take money out or pay something from transaction to transaction. So 1149.47. Maybe you went to Sonic and got an ice cream. I feel like Sonic ice cream is kind of expensive, so that's why I said that. Maybe it's not, but it's $7.69. So $11.41.78 is now our new balance after we went to Sonic. So each of these that are going to be here, you're always subtracting. So now we're paying an insurance payment of that $175.50. So $966.28 minus $78.73, whatever that was for your telephone bill. That's a real cheap telephone bill. It must was just you on your bill. $887.55. But then we deposit something. Maybe somebody gifted you $55 for your birthday. So you're going to add that back into your account. Maybe you just deposited it straight into it. So now you have $942.52. And then you went and got some gas at On Q. So we subtracted. You must have just been a quarter tank empty because it's just $24. So $918.37. So this is supposed to reflect more of your actual balance, like what's really happening in your account. But sometimes our bank account hasn't caught up. It's not quite there yet. So we have to go find what the difference is. And if you kind of need to have 2 pages here. I might need to scroll out a little bit so you can see it. On the next page, it helps us keep track of this as we go. And we're going to tally. I'm going to just show 1 page for a minute and then we'll go to that. But you need to go look, see this check mark right here. This is what we're going to use to reconcile. It just helps us keep track, and we're going to do check marks. So we know that we started with $500, right? I like to check mark it on both, but we're really supposed to be check marking here. And whenever you don't have a check mark means it hasn't gone through the bank. So like we deposited this amount and that's right there, right? $1172.68. Always double check it, because what if you wrote down the wrong amount in your book? Maybe just by pennies. Maybe you wrote down 78, 88. And then you wrote a check for $323, and that's right there. We took $200 out, that came out. Our Sonic $769 came through the bank. Our $78.73 to the telephone company came through the bank, and that's it. They're saying our balance is this. That's more money than what we actually have, because we have some items that haven't gone through. Do you guys see that? So what hasn't gone through are the unchecked items. This one, this deposit, and this one. So you can circle it or whatever, but where you don't have check marks, whether it's a debit or a credit, those are the things that haven't gone through yet, those 3 items. So you need to be able to see this. I'm not going to show both of them at the same time, but it helps you when you do the actual reconciling. So outstanding deposits are the one that we had was this one, right? The deposit that hasn't gone through, it's called outstanding deposit, hasn't shown up in your account yet, was $55. So we're going to say, there's not a number on those. We're going to say $55. And that would have been on January 27th, if you want to write your date. Was there only one outstanding deposit? Yeah. There were 2 outstanding debits or payments, things where we were spending our money. So we're going to put those here, outstanding checks or withdrawals from your account. So on the 15th, we had our insurance. If you know, the check number that they have written there was 102, and that would have been in the amount of $175.50. The other outstanding withdrawal was on the 28th of January. It was a debit, and it just hasn't gone through, but it's $24.18. So you do need to have a total amount like, we don't have any other outstanding deposits. So our total debits or deposits that haven't gone through was $55, right? And the total outstanding payments, we need to add those two things together. Can somebody add it together and tell me what that is? $199.68. So these two amounts are what's keeping our what we say is in our bank different from our bank statement. And so if we come over here, we say balance for this statement. So that means from the bank statement. What did we say the balance was? Your bank statement was 106305. The deposits that haven't gone through were how much? $55. So we're going to add those things together. And I know it's going to make it look bigger for a minute. But 1063.05 plus 55 is 1118.05. But then we're going to take that amount and subtract the checks that haven't gone through. So that would be your 199.68. So minus 199.68 would be 918.37. Does this match our checkbook registry? That's what we'll be asking ourselves. Does this amount match our checkbook registry? So we can go back to that other page and we can say, yes, it does. So what we just did was we just basically verified every penny that's gone in and out of our account. And I know, like, my grandmother, she worked for a bank. She did this every month. She still did it until she went into the nursing home. She doesn't handle her finances now, so she's not doing reconciling her account every month like she used to. But sometimes it's even down to pennies, and those pennies sometimes are just because you wrote it down wrong in your account, or the bank actually translated a 21 to a 23 or something sometimes. So so that is reconciling to make sure that we actually have the amount that we think we're going to have once everything clears, and maybe you don't do anything, you freeze your account for 10 days, you don't spend or deposit, right? And then surely everything would come through by then. So all we did was our first step in this is tallied deposits and withdrawals by adding or subtracting from item to item. Here we went and found what in this is up here, what's missing from our bank account. And then this section is where you kind of gather the missing information. If you have an outstanding deposit, you put it here. Sometimes there's more than one. Can you guys be still for just a little bit longer? I know you're wanting to leave, but just, can I have your attention for a little bit longer? Sometimes you have more than one outstanding deposit and you would have to add them, but we only had one, right? So the total outstanding deposits was this. Our total outstanding withdrawals, we actually had two things that hadn't cleared, hadn't subtracted for our account. We need to find out how much total hasn't subtracted from our account, so we add those together. And so over here, this comes from your bank statements deposit, or balance, that's the word. So it's always this one down here. So this is your bank balance. And it's often bigger than your balance, right? Because things haven't come through. But that right there, so you add your deposits in and then you subtract the outstanding debts to see if it matches your checkbook. So we're gonna have to be able to do that. If you turn the page on this, there is another one that we're gonna do. I think there's two more of them actually, yes. So there's another one that we're going to do together on Thursday, and we're starting our review, okay? So I would like for you to look at this bank statement number 2. Everybody see it? Because this is going to be something I ask you to do and turn into me that's on paper. because we can't do this in WebAssign like this, so it has to be on paper. So I do have a worksheet portion that's going to be due, and I'll remind you that on Thursday, I'm going to make a spot in the online Dropbox, but I want you to do this one. This is going to be like your worksheet, and you're going to submit it to the Dropbox by Thursday at midnight with your other homework that goes with this section. So today's the 26th. So what would that be by 9/28? I'm going to do one more with you just for practice. If you felt good about that and you want to go ahead and do this one, I'll set up the Dropbox a little bit later today and you can go ahead and submit it early if you want. Okay. But I am going to ask you to do this. This will be 10 points. So if you don't do it, that's 10 points. So it is a homework grade. All right. It's a worksheet. I do not love the way WebAssign does the reconciling of this, and there's no way to program it to do it like we need you to learn anyways. So I want to see you guys do one, and that's going to be part of your homework grade for this unit. Got it? It says worksheet 2 on the top right hand, bank statement number 2. Yes, because this one says bank statement number 1. I'm going to do this one with you. Okay. I'll do number 1 with you on Thursday. I want you to do number 2. And then finally, if you want bonus, here is your review. So remember, 5-point bonus. This is half a letter grade. So I think everybody should do it if you have time, because it can help significantly. That's half a letter grade. That's big, right? So 5-point bonus, I'll have it in the online Dropbox. It has to be done before class on Thursday to be able to get 5 points, because I do it with you. So that's why you have to have it done before and submitted. So if you need me to, I'll send out an announcement just to remind you of all those little things today, because it does seem like it's a couple extra little things. But if you submit that to the online Dropbox completed, even if it's not right, you do need to try to show as much work as possible. I need to see that you attempted it and you didn't just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each spot. Okay, like you attempt them. That's 5-point bonus on your test. And then we'll be testing a week from today. Yes, ma'am. So on WebAssign, what's due today is your 6.1 and 6.2. So tonight, 6.1 and 6.2 is due tonight. 6, I think that was, what is that called? 6 and 6.7 will be due Thursday night with the bank statement number 2 to the Dropbox Thursday night. If you do the review, that needs to be in the Dropbox before. So it's a lot of things kind of hitting you once before Thursday class. So I would, order of importance, you need to do this, maybe do this, and then get these done, right? That would be my recommendation to you. I know you need to probably practice these, but you could do most of your review and then finish it up. That way it's done on Thursday. So my order of importance, if you haven't done 6.1 and 2, you need to do that first. Maybe start your review while doing your homework. And then get your bank statement done after class Thursday sometime if you need to. Got it? All right. Have a good day, guys. Therese, did you get your thing submitted to me? Did you email it or? You're on the mute, so you can either type or unmute, either way in the chat, whatever you prefer to do. I don't have my email open, so I
sorry.
No, it's fine.
I thought I was talking. I was trying to upload it right now.
Okay. All right. If you have any issues, just email it to me. That way I know I get it today. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.